Hello and welcome back. Today we will be doing a rundown of Tinto Talk number 13. This is going to be on religion in the game. It is very short and in my opinion is not very information dense, so this is probably going to be a short one. We're just going to look to get through it, but they do discuss a few things that are going to be interesting regarding mechanics, or at least one or two, and so we'll go into it. So without further ado, for the Tinto Talks, welcome to another Tinto Talks, where we give out top secret information about our upcoming unannounced game with the codename Project Caesar. Somewhere on the forums they said that they weren't going to announce the game this year, which implies heavily to me that it might not even be available, next year, although I don't have that kind of screenshot prepared, but it is very unlikely it gets announced in 2024, which means it coming out in 2025 is maybe a little bit optimistic, but I also don't know timelines of games that well. This is Europa Universalis 5, by the way. This time we will touch a little bit on the aspect of religion in the game, and just a little bit is kind of right. Lovely screenshot, though, or lovely artwork here. Every country or pop or character has a religion they adhere to. This impacts the relationship with the place they currently are and their relationship with others in the world. Okay, makes sense. This is the religion setup of Aragon in 1337, where we do see some Sunni, some Judeo, or Judaism, and some Catholicism. Every religion in Project Caesar belongs to a religious group, such as Christianity or paganism. Fellow religions in the same group consider the other to be merely a heretic, whereas religions in other groups often condemn each other as heathen. This may look familiar from EU4. Every religion has a specific view of other religions as well that ranges from kindred to enemy. And so this is a little bit of a new kind of thing, I believe, in that they're talking about it ranges. So this is going to be, in my opinion, less binary seeming than how it is currently. And so we might see, for example, it would be interesting to see if there's a spectrum on which you belong, and it's not just this heathen versus heretic, because maybe, for example, Christianity is much more hostile to the Muslim religions, for example, or Islam, than they are to the Far East religions, even though both are outside, both would be considered heathens, or rather than heretics. And so this is gives a little bit more granularity. That certainly would make a lot more sense, because they're just like something you know nothing about, rather than someone you've been fighting from your perspective for quite a long time here. So that'll be interesting. And how populations of another faith view your country. Okay. Each country also has their own tolerance of faith, heretics, and heathens, which impacts how happy or angry your population will be, depending on what country they belong to. Again, this looks like EU4, without kind of any modification, really. We see tolerance of the true faith, base values, spiritualist, same religion. This all looks very familiar relative to EU4. The religious unity of your country has a really large impact on the satisfaction of your clergy estate. This makes sense. I'm not sure if this is the case in EU4, but this certainly makes a lot of sense. And now, here's kind of a little bit of information that's a bit new. Important to know is that in Project Caesar, you do not just send your missionaries to locations and eventually have changed religion. Here, conversion is a slower process which relies on government activities and infrastructure. And so, moving it from having this abstracted resource we have of missionaries, and the missionaries do work, to something that's a little bit more emergent, definitely seems to be in line with what they're trying to do philosophically. But having a building like this, like the madrasa, which is giving pop conversion speed plus 10, literacy, it's also increasing the amount of food that the clergy are consuming, and of course there are requirements in terms of goods, so the goods will cost money, and I don't think they're selling stuff, so it will cost money to run this type of thing in order to get the conversion, but you can build infrastructure, in order to try and get a higher conversion rate, which will affect the satisfaction of the clergy estate. And so this certainly makes sense, and I think that this would be kind of the way you would want to go about it. In terms of implementation from a realism perspective, I really do kind of like this, that it is not just some abstracted missionaries thing. Of course, this is a dig at EU4 current mechanics, right? But yeah, okay. Each religion belongs to a group, which impacts which tolerance is applied and how religions interact with each other. This is somewhat vague in the sense that I don't know if there's going to be more than 3 tiers of tolerance, right? True faith that we have here, and what we have in EU4 is 3 tiers: true faith, heretics, and heathens. I would really like to be able to see the language of using enemy, in my mind, implies at least a 4th status, which is like some sort of unknown that is regarding acceptance or this type of thing. But we'll see. Religions in the same group are viewed as heretics, but those in other groups are viewed as heathens. Okay, well, I guess that kind of answers the question. But let's continue. The groups we currently have... I really wish there was, like, more granularity rather than just heretics, heathens, true faith in here. I feel like I'm probably just getting too caught up on the language of enemy. The group we are currently the groups we currently have are, but that may change as we continue to develop the game: Christian, Muslim, Eastern, Dharmic, Zoroastrian, Manichaean, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, Judean, Andean, and Pagan. And we see here a breakdown of a Christian, which is going to include Anglicanism, Bogomilism, Christianity, Calvinism, Catholicism, Hussitism, Lollardy, Lutheranism, Miaphysitism, Nestorianism, Orthodoxy, and I'm not going to even try with that one. It's going to have a bunch of these, and they are all going to be heretics of each other, right? But they will be outside the heathen group. So it looks like they're kind of just porting over. I wish that there was more granularity, but we'll see. In some games, we have made there be not any major differences between religions, merely being different modifiers, and while some religions in Project's teaser are only a few modifiers, many will have mechanics. Right now, so this is kind of a little bit of a tale in terms of how they are going to be handling the religions. Currently in EU4, there's different mechanics for a lot of the different ones, but the presence of modifiers, really it seems like they've been trying to avoid modifiers, like a religion giving you plus manpower or something like this, or construction speed, or like galley defense, or whatever it is. Generally, it seems that they've been reluctant to give those types of things out a little bit, or show those related to nations. It feels like a little bit in Project Teaser, but I guess we haven't seen any nation unique bonuses or anything like that. We haven't seen too much in the realm of modifiers, and I think that they were trying to move away from modifier stacking, which is a common criticism of EU4. And so this is kind of, I guess, the first we're seeing of the M word, as it were, as well as many will also have mechanics, whereas most people think of the mechanics as being kind of more emergent and interesting, rather than just slapping a modifier on the hood. Right now, we have made unique mechanics for Catholicism, Orthodoxy, Miaphysitism, the various Protestants, Muslims, Buddhists, Shinto, Nahuatl, Hinduism, and the Inti religion. Each of these will have their own unique later development diary. Now, every religion will have the same modifiers that describe them. We'll still have the same modifiers that describe them. In many cases, it is things that will enable or disable certain mechanics. Some examples include the fact that countries that start countries with Jain as their state religion cannot start wars without a casus belli. This certainly makes sense. And the Calvinist countries will never reroll the dice in battle. Everything is preordained. As everything is preordained. We don't know how dice rolling works necessarily in battle, but they will never re-roll the dice in battle, as everything is preordained. That's such a weird sounding sentence. If you have an idea, I don't know how battle mechanics works in EU4. So if you guys have an idea exactly what this implications would be if you just ported over EU4's battle system, let me know, because that's a little bit interesting. Never re-roll the dice. Okay. Stay tuned for next week, where we talk about a completely new feature that adds flavor to the game. We do love flavor. Sadly, I cannot reply today, as I am at some management thingy in Stockholm. Boo, but Pavia will help you out. So that was just kind of a quick overview of religion. We're seeing a lot of the same thing. I thought I was onto something with this like enemy thing, but then like in a lot of the clarifying text, it seems to be the case that it is going to be the same system. We do see that conversion is going to be different, and we see that there will be modifiers and mechanics for religions. And so that's kind of the wrap up, and excited to see what the modifiers and mechanics are for each individual religion, but we won't be receiving that now. For now, we just kind of have a quick and dirty overview of religion. Anyways, I hope you guys found that interesting. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and other than that, have a happy Wednesday.